The river is still at first light. A Nile crocodile, 4 meters long, hauls itself onto the sandbar and opens its jaws. Wide. The teeth catch the early sun like pale stakes driven into shadow. Then a bird lands on the lower jaw. It weighs barely 100 grams. It hops between incisors the length of a thumb, unhurried. The crocodile does not move. The bird does not flinch. This is an ordinary morning on the Nile, repeated across 65 million years, and not once has it ended the way you would expect. Something keeps those jaws open. What holds the river's most dangerous predator absolutely still, while a bird the size of a fist walks through its mouth and walks back out? 8 minutes from now, you will know the answer, and you will understand why the creature that kills everything it touches holds its breath for something that weighs no more than a handful of sand. For now, watch the bird tuck its head and probe deeper into the shadow between the teeth. In the reeds upstream, something small is already waiting in the dark. It is not the crocodile. 100 meters from the sandbar, a shallow scrape in the hot sand holds 3 eggs. They are the color of the bank itself, speckled, freckled, almost invisible. No bird sits on them. The mother plover has buried her clutch. She lets the sun do the work, folding warm grains over the shells at midday, uncovering them again by afternoon. Her nest is the river itself. When the sand grows too hot, she wades belly deep into the shallows and returns with feathers heavy and dark with water. She stands over the buried eggs and lets it drip. The cool droplets slide between the grains and settle against the shells. Inside, the embryos twitch. One egg near the edge shows a hairline crack no wider than a thread. A shadow slides across the sand. She freezes. A monitor lizard is nosing along the bank, tongue flicking, tasting the air for something warm and hidden. She cannot fight it. She has only one weapon, and the river taught it to her long before she hatched. The monitor lizard lifts its head. Then a bull hippo bellows in the reeds, and the lizard bolts back into the grass. The mother plover breathes again. This is her river. A green corridor cut through baking country, thick with giants. Hippos churn the shallows at dusk. Crocodiles line every sandbar like driftwood with eyes. On the far bank, a lone bull elephant stands knee-deep, ears out, drinking. None of these animals threaten her directly. The danger on this river is smaller than a fingernail. On the flank of the nearest crocodile, tucked behind the front leg where the skin folds, a cluster of leeches hangs swollen and black. Between the scutes along its jaw, tiny scraps of last week's meal have wedged tight and gone sour. Flies gather at the corners of its eyes. The reptile scrapes its head against wet sand, and the rot will not come loose. The largest predator on the river is being eaten alive by things it cannot reach. 60 million years of teeth, and it still cannot clean its own mouth. Upstream, the plover watches the giant thrash, then go still, then open its jaws to the sky. Wings snap open. The plover launches from the bank in 3 quick beats and skims the water toward the sandbar. She lands on the crocodile's snout. The scales are warm, ridged like old bark, still wet from the river. She tilts her head into the shadow of the mouth and steps in. Between the third and fourth tooth, a strip of catfish skin has rotted for 2 days. She grips it, pulls, swallows. A leech the size of a peanut clings to the pink flesh behind the last molar. She snaps it up. Deeper still, wedged against the tongue, a splinter of bone the length of her toe. She works it free with 3 sharp tugs. Her chicks, when they hatch, will need this. 1 crocodile fed clean means a week of full crops for the nest waiting in the sand. The crocodile's breath is hot on her feathers. Its throat is a wet cave. She can feel the slow tremor of a heart the size of a man's fist beating somewhere beneath her feet. Then the tongue twitches. She does not fly. She holds. The tongue slides beneath her feet, slow as a log turning in the current, and settles. This is the signal. The crocodile will not close. She works faster. A hooked shard of bone at the gum line. A tick swollen behind the last tooth. She spikes each one, swallows, moves on. Along the roof of the mouth, a green thread of algae is taken hold, and she plucks it strand by strand. The reptile's eyes have gone half shut. Its breathing has slowed. What passes between them now is older than either creature alone. Older than this bend of river where they meet. Somewhere in the coded pathways of a brain no bigger than a walnut, one command holds: still. The plover has learned to read that stillness since her first hop onto a snout. A twitch of the jaw means welcome. A tremor in the throat means leave. She has never mistaken one for the other. And she is still alive to tell it. Then a shadow crosses the water, and the crocodile's eye rolls sideways toward the sky. A fish eagle drops from the acacia. It comes low and fast, wings tucked, talons wide for the sandbar. The plover is still inside the mouth. Beneath her feet, the crocodile's throat tightens, one hard pulse, then a second. She has felt this signal only once before, on a smaller male, 2 dry seasons ago. Leave, now. She kicks off the tongue and clears the teeth in a single beat of wings. Behind her, the jaws slam shut. The sound cracks across the river like a felled tree. The eagle veers hard, banks wide, climbs empty. She lands in the reeds and holds still. Her heart is loud in a body that weighs less than an egg. On the sandbar, the crocodile has not moved. Its eye finds her among the stems, holds a moment, then closes again. Twice today the river has tried to take her. Twice the giant she cleans has answered for it. The truce is arithmetic older than either of them, kept alive by warnings passed in the smallest tremors of skin and throat. She waits for her breath to slow. Somewhere upstream, on a sand scrape she has not visited since morning, 3 warm eggs are cooling in the shade. 3 days pass. In the sand scrape, the eggs crack open. 3 chicks stagger into the light, no bigger than her wing coverts, calling in thin voices for shade and water. She waits until they can hop. Then she leads them down to the river at first light. The old crocodile lies on its sandbar. Its eye finds her step across the wet sand and holds. She flutters up onto the snout. Her chicks stop at the waterline, small and uncertain. She calls once, low. The largest lifts a foot and sets it on the warm scales. The second follows. The third comes last, trembling on legs the width of straw. 3 chicks stand on the jaw of the oldest predator in the river. The mouth opens wide around them. The tongue does not move. She shows them the first tooth. She shows them the strip of skin wedged behind it. One by one, they bend and pull. What has kept her alive since she was smaller than they are now passes into them without a word. The crocodile blinks slowly. Somewhere in its throat, a low pulse says, "Stay." Above the water, the sun climbs. On the far bank, a shape older than any of them watches the sandbar and remembers. Years pass along this bend of river. The old crocodile is bones under the sand now, and its bones feed other creatures. The plover who taught her chicks the truce is gone with him. At first light, one of those chicks, grown, steps onto a fresh sandbar. A younger crocodile lies there with jaws parted to the sun. She reads the shape of that stillness. It is a language she was born already knowing, passed to her through a mouth that could have closed on her mother and did not. She hops between the teeth. The pact holds. Not because either creature chose it, but because on this river, the deadliest jaws have always needed the smallest guest. And the smallest guest has always trusted the deadliest jaws. And neither remembers a time when it was otherwise. Somewhere upstream, 3 eggs sit warm in a new sand scrape. Tomorrow the giants will return to the sandbars. A bird the size of a fist will walk into an open mouth and walk out alive.